Another Z690 motherboard that uses 12th gen CPUs but only up to DDR4 RAM, but there's more to it for this TUF Gaming Z690-Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. Let's take a deep dive into what's new about this new motherboard. This is the first of two, maybe three new boards that ASUS SG has passed to us. Essentially, the little brother to the Strix, TUF motherboards have come a long way since we last reviewed the Z690-Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. But before we get to the motherboard, let's take a look at what's inside the box. Ding! Okay, first thing you have your Wi-Fi antenna for Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. Attach this to the back of the motherboard. This guy here, I don't know why is it still here, but don't use this, just download the latest drivers from the ASUS website. The very important user guide. There's a lot of new things on this new motherboard, so make sure to check out the user guide to not miss out on any important things. Stickers, so pretty stickers. A pair of M.2 rubber pads. One M.2 standoff and screw. And your TUF card shows how tough your motherboard is. And back to the motherboard. You can see the usual black and yellow TUF gaming color scheme, thick VRA heatsinks, capacitors and chokes around the LGA 1700 socket. A quick reminder, this board only supports 12th gen CPUs, so please do not try to feed your 11th gen or lower CPUs into this new socket. Next, here, 8+4 pin power. As of the time of filming, as I do not have any Elder Lake CPUs on hand, I do not know how much exact power do these new 12th gen CPUs actually consume. But I guess we can kind of safely assume that it uses the same amount of power as a Rocket League CPU. I mean, surely you can't be silly enough to put a 12900K on a mid-range board like this. But wait! This board uses 8+8 CPU power in. Okay, this will be for another video, so make sure to smash the subscribe button to not miss out on the powering on of this motherboard, as well as the review of this Strix Z690 motherboard. Fan and optional fan headers are here. The AIO pump header is here. Good on you ASUS, because now you don't need to wire your AIO pump wire all the way to the top right of the motherboard. Two addressable Gen 2 headers are here and one Aura RGB header is here. Use these headers to jazz up your PC build. USB Type-C front connectors are becoming more and more common because there are more PC cases with Type-C front ports. You also have a USB 3.2 Gen 1 port here, supporting up to 2 additional 3.2 Gen 1 ports. And you also have 2 USB 2.0 ports here. I think this is more than enough USB connectivity for this kind of mid-range motherboards, so thank you ASUS for providing us with so much connectivity. And finally, QLEDs to inform you if there's anything wrong with, for example, your CPU or GPU when you boot up this motherboard. And next, time for the new stuff! Because this is the D4 board, you can put up to 4 sticks of 32 gigs of RAM each, or dual channel here and here. But as mentioned, as this is a D4 board, please do not put your DDR5 RAM sticks here. For storage, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 M.2 slots and 1, 2, 3, 4 SATA ports. All M.2 slots run at PCIe 4.0x4 speeds, and 3 of them have heat shields. If you're wondering why there's no heat shield for the second slot, my guess is maybe the heat shield will block off the X1 slot here, and perhaps of budget constraints, they cannot have a heat shield for all M.2 slots. Unlike the TUF Z690-Plus motherboard, which has 3 M.2 slots and 6 SATA ports, now we have one more M.2 slot on this motherboard. Yes, you have to give up 2 SATA ports on this motherboard, but hey, now you have one more slot for one more high-speed drive. I feel this shows that users are using more M.2 drives than non-M.2 SATA drives, and brands are working very hard to adapt to this change. Oh, and before I forget, if you have an M.2 SATA drive, plug it into the second M.2 slot. And unlike the Z590-Plus motherboard, you don't need to worry about any of the 4 SATA ports standing off when you occupy all 4 M.2 slots. Wow, 8 storage devices, rate 5, anyone? Okay, before we get to the PCIe slots, there is one good thing I'd like to point out. I like that ASUS put the CMOS battery here and the clear CMOS jumper over here. If there's any time you need to clear your CMOS because of some weird overclock you did in your BIOS, you can just easily clear your CMOS here without requiring you to remove your GPU. Good on you, ASUS again. Okay, talking about PCIe slots, the first one here with the heat shield is PCIe 5.0x16, no more 4.0x16. This guy here is 3.0x16, 3.0x4, and we also have two 3.0x1 slots right over here. Okay, for what I see, of course, as a mid-range board, you want to use the first slot 5.0x16 for a GPU. If you are using a 2-slot card for a blower, which I don't know why, you're going to use up to like that. But more traditionally or more common, you'll probably want to buy a high-end gaming card such as RTX 3080, which is more than 2.5 slots. You will probably use up to here. So my question for myself, you audience, and maybe perhaps Gordon is why we have so many slots over here, and I guess we can't really use them, so there must be a reason why ASUS is going to give out so much slots over here. Once we figure it out, we'll update you in the comments below. And for the last one, according to the manual, is where you install your Thunderbolt expansion card. Wire them up to the Thunderbolt header as well as the USB 2.0 header. Okay, so now let's go on to the back I/O. First things first, now you see the very glorious I/O shield is connected on the motherboard. Yay! You don't need to worry about forgetting to install I/O shield before installing a motherboard into your PC case. Okay, going from left to right, we have the usual DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0. Of course, with a mid-range motherboard like this, you are going to buy a discrete GPU for your gaming or work needs, but having these two ports is always welcome because, for example, one day if you can't find your GPU and there's something wrong with the motherboard, you can just easily plug into either of these ports and you can see what's on the monitor. Next, we have 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports. So confusing the names. Below that, we have a USB 3.2 Gen 2 x 2 Type-C port, even more confusing. The ones in turquoise are USB 3.2 Gen 2, and the other Type-C port is USB 3.2 Gen 1. Besides that, we also have an Intel 2.5G LAN port, your 2 gold connectors for your Wi-Fi 6 antenna, optical SPD out, and audio jacks for your audio devices. Okay, so what do I think about this motherboard? Of course, as of the time of filming, I do not know what's the price, but I'm guessing it's between 300 to 400 Singapore dollars. As we have reviewed 2 TUF motherboards, the TUF motherboard is always a very awesome welcome addition to the mid-range sector. First things first, of course, the I/O shield is now on it, thank you very much. Now you have more than enough storage, 4 M.2 slots and 4 setup ports. You can run a lot of storage devices, and there's a lot of things that we mentioned are on this board. USB Type-C front, heat shields for most of the M.2 slots, very good. I think this is a very good option if you are going to buy a mid-range motherboard for Z690 Alder Lake CPUs. Okay, so with that, if you like this review, make sure to smash the thumbs up button. And yeah, in the meantime, you can check out my other video, the previous generation Z490-Plus motherboard. And make sure to come back to our channel because we are definitely going to power on this motherboard as mentioned, and we're going to do the review or this next video. So yeah, hope to see you next video, and with that, bye!